Recently, Sinners, a brutal vampire movie, premiered. This film presented us with a battle against evil, combined with a plot about the search for freedom. But what happened at the end? And what does the post-credits scene mean? These are questions we are going to answer. Today on Charlietales, we will analyze the ending of Sinners, the message of the film, and those details you need to know. Ready? Let's begin. The film tells us the story of Smoke and Stack, two twin brothers who return to their hometown after years in Chicago. The brothers want to open a tavern, and to achieve this, they gather many of their childhood friends. However, everything becomes complicated when, on the night of the opening, they are attacked by bloodthirsty vampires. But why did the vampires attack here? The film suggests that in this world, there are very special people who are capable of using their music to transcend life and death, the past and the present. Sammy would be one of these people. He is the cousin of the protagonists and has a supernatural talent for playing the blues. This music was what attracted the vampires. Let's talk a bit about the vampires. In this story, the vampires have similarities with other typical versions in fiction. They can die with a stake to the heart or by sunlight, but they have a particular characteristic. All of them share their mind and memories. The leader of the vampires tells us clearly that he has access to the memories of his victims. That's why he's so interested in Sammy. Through his music, he could access the past and the future, and thus take the knowledge of ancient or future generations. During the confrontation with the vampires, Stack is bitten and becomes one of them. This sets up a battle between brothers. However, in the end, the vampires are defeated by sunlight. Only Smoke and Sammy survive. But the story doesn't end there. It is revealed that a hidden legion of the Ku Klux Klan had plans to attack the brothers' tavern. Smoke was able to escape, but instead chose to stay and confront them. He manages to eliminate them all, but ends up mortally wounded. Let's go to the important question. Did Smoke die? Most likely yes. Smoke died from a gunshot wound. This is quite clear because they show us how he sees Annie again, and she died a few hours earlier. Also, his daughter, who died as a baby, appears. Smoke was able to reunite with them in the afterlife. We could also believe that this is just a hallucination of Smoke, but I doubt it. The film suggests that in this universe, the afterlife, the soul, and hell exist. This is made clear by the appearance of the vampires. So if hell exists, heaven also exists, and kind souls go there. Therefore, Smoke's ending is positive because he finally found his freedom alongside his family in the afterlife. Let's move on to the post-credits scene. Here we see Sammy, 60 years in the future. He is now an old man who lives playing blues. He has his own band called Pearline, the name of his first love. They also show us that Stack and Mary appear in front of Sammy. They have lived for 60 years as vampires, so they haven't aged. It's confirmed that Smoke spared Stack's life under the promise that he wouldn't harm Sammy, so that he could live a happy life. Stack kept his promise. Before leaving, he offers Sammy the opportunity to become a vampire and live forever. But Sammy says he is happy with the life he had. In response, Stack feels at peace. He realizes that his cousin lived a happy life, and that comforts him. He is glad that his brother's wish came true. Here some questions arise. Why are Stack and Mary good now, if before they were shown as ruthless and uncontrollable monsters? The answer would be the following. The film suggested that vampires share their minds, memories, and ideas. Therefore, initially Mary and Stack were evil due to the influence the leader had over them. All the vampires shared minds in some way, but when the leader died, Stack and Mary were left alone. They no longer have to share memories or ideas with the leader, so their minds are purer. They only share a bond with each other, and therefore they can have almost total control over their bodies. This would explain why they have lived for so many years as good vampires. Let's talk about the message of the movie. The film has many messages, but the most important ones are related to freedom and the desire to choose your own path. First, let's talk about freedom, starting with the obvious. The story shows us how black people live a kind of slavery in this town. Even though slavery was abolished a long time ago, they are still considered second-class citizens, and they can only find dignity and fun among their own. But the movie shows the concept of freedom on other levels. We are constantly shown how the protagonists long for freedom, but do not achieve it. For example, Stack wanted to have a happy life with Mary, but he never dared, because she is not black. Stack knew that Mary could have a better life with a white husband, so he preferred to leave her. If they got married, Mary would be judged by white people. He wanted freedom to be happy with her, but the world's prejudices did not allow it. Of course, he finally finds this freedom in the post-credits scene, since we see him with Mary as vampires, and they have lived decades like that. Smoke is another example. He told us that his father was a bad man, and the violence of his life was passed on to them. Smoke believed that both brothers were destined to continue this cycle of violence because of their past. That is why his little daughter died as a baby. Supposedly, Smoke could never achieve happiness, but in the end, he was wrong. Smoke managed to be free in death, since he reunited with Annie and his daughter. The character of Sammy represents the desire to choose your path to achieve freedom. He is the son of a pastor, and everyone believes that his life's goal must be to continue that legacy. He even has the nickname of Little Pastor. The movie is very direct in this sense. However, after the macabre night in the tavern, he learned about the value of freedom, and not only referring to living enslaved by white people. We are talking about the freedom to decide what to do with your life. Smoke told him that the best thing for him would be to stay with his father and continue as a pastor. This was because Smoke believed that we are all destined to repeat the cycle of our parents, but Sammy refused this. That's why the movie ends with Sammy rejecting his father's legacy and running away to keep making music. In the end, Sammy found freedom in his music. The movie suggests that everyone found freedom in their own way. If we think about it a bit, even the vampires were pursuing freedom in a certain way. The leader saw vampires as a way to overcome the chains of the world, and in a way, he was right. The movie makes it clear that African American people live segregated by whites, but for vampires, there are no differences based on skin color. They all unite and are free from human prejudice. Vampires share minds, so for them, that was real freedom. Let's go with another question. Will there be a Sinners 2? Honestly, I really doubt it. It's true that the post-credits scene gives us the option to continue the story with Stack and Mary. However, it would be very complicated to make a sequel with them due to the film's theme. Sinners tells us a story based on slavery and the search for freedom. These ideas were very relevant in 1932. But at the end of the story, Stack and Mary are almost in the present, so I don't really see the point in adapting the idea of slavery to modern times. Sinners only works in the context of the past, and that's why it turned out so well. Changing that would ruin the formula and the beautiful identity the movie had. That's all for today. If you liked the video, you'd really help me out by leaving a like. That would be legendary. Also, remember to subscribe to see more videos like this. Thanks for listening. My name is Charlie, and I'll see you in the future.